So, making a musical painting. This is the start of a new song, so we have to head downstairs to where my studio is. And the first part is a cello part. So that means we need to play, let's see, where is that thing? Oh, there it is, the purple cello. So there's my purple cello. I blame Rob Scallon on this whole thing because it was watching one of his videos where he said, oh, well, I got this purple cello and it was cheap. So I went online and went, exactly how cheap? And when I found out it was 200 bucks, I went, okay, what the hell? And the amazing thing is that for 200 bucks, you can get a cello and that stand, the bows hanging off the headstock there. It came with a case, extra set of strings, rosin, all for 200 bucks. I don't know how that's even physically possible. Now, one thing about cello parts is that, oh my God, this is a beautiful instrument. It sounds wonderful, but holy smoke, is it fussy. Your fingers have to be in exactly the right place. The bow has to go at exactly the right speed with the right amount of pressure in the right place. Otherwise, you sound terrible. And I have to say, it was 9 months of absolute futile, squawky, horrible noise making until some reasonable facsimile of music started to come out of this thing. But in the end, I think it's all worth it because it is a beautiful instrument, but I will absolutely not be able to play this part in one take or in one day. I'll have to work on it over a number of different days to get this part done. Now, at the start of every new song, you have to start up the computer. For some reason, my music recording software will not run unless I restart my computer every time before I run it. Part of that problem is probably that I'm using ancient software with a ancient piece of hardware. But the truth of the matter is that it makes music, and I don't end up having to update things year after year after year for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I just use the same old damn system, and it keeps working, and I'm happy with that. Now, one thing is once we get a new file going here, and we have to light up the software, we'll have a new file, and we can start writing music. Now, you'll see here is that if you have to do any non-computer filing, like just manual filing, I have this file here, so I can get right on that. All right, I have a new file open for my new song. Before I get started actually playing things, because I know I won't be able to do this in one day, I have to be careful about my setup. For instance, the cello goes on this yoga mat because otherwise it slides all over the place, but you see those marks there with the orange tape. The point behind that is that those are markings of where my stool goes, and that way I can get a reasonably consistent distance between where the cello will be when I'm sitting on that stool and from that perspective where this microphone is. And you see I put this in place here with some duct tape. If you're going to use duct tape to get the best tonal quality, make sure that you use either yellow or orange duct tape, never the gray, maybe red, but certainly not gray, not green or blue. All right, so now I'm more or less ready to start recording things. I have to push play and off this whole thing goes. Now what I'm playing, you play a lot and you sit there and noodle around on your instrument, you make various squawking noises and all this, but as you're playing, sometimes you'll come up with something you'll say, that's cool. And those are the things that you want to capture, those things that you go like, that's great. You'll play plenty of crap, but you don't record your crap because then you end up with songs of crap. but I was writing a little piece that just started out with open strings, and the first bit, which hopefully I can play for you, goes more or less like. And the idea is to take advantage of the reverberation of the cello. It really does this amazing thing, especially on the open strings when you play it. I don't know how much that will come across in the video, but you start the string vibrating, the bridge starts to vibrate, the body, it moves through the body, and it has this great roar to it as it moves around the instrument. And I wanted to time the opening piece, kind of letting that reverberation set the pace. So when you hit the string and make it go, you let the instrument do its thing before getting to the next note. Now there's a bit that starts there, and the part that's just going to kick my ass is that, and it's a terrible thing to do with a cello. It makes these great, wonderful, deep noises, but then of course you're tempted to get up here in squawky land. And that's harder to do right. That particular part, which starts a little melody, is going to be much more difficult, and I'll probably have to work on that for a few days before I get a good take. And then the last little bit, which kind of enters a different chord sequence, is a little bit that goes. So there's more to it than that, but just kind of give you an idea of the snippets that I'm doing. So in the beginning here, I'm not going to start out with any sort of rhythm or click track that's going to keep me on line. I'm just going to let the notes fall where they do, really let the whole piece breathe, and that will get me through the first cello part. After that, then I'll start sticking in acoustic guitar parts, and at that point I'm going to need that click track, metronome. It's kind of like a conductor of the orchestra, because it's no longer just going to be a solo cello thing. It's going to have the guitar. I will probably put cello pieces underneath it, who knows what. I'm just at the beginning, and that's part of that. I've got a starting point of where the song begins, but it's going to go somewhere, and I'm not completely in charge of where that goes. One bit will suggest other bits, and the whole thing will go off somewhere. Got a plan, but don't be so rigid with your plan that when good opportunities come along, you don't take that side road and see where they go. Anyway, I'm going to push record and get on this and see what happens. And the next bit I'll put up is when I get out my acoustic guitar and start doing the next part. See ya!